The message for Broncos country right now: stay calm, but stay locked in. Yes, the scoreboard in that first half against the San Francisco 49ers might have looked like a gut punch for our starters. But beneath the surface, something clicked, something we've been searching for. And it has me fired up. From the very first drive, we saw the Niners march down the field with their backups, punching in an early touchdown. Meanwhile, Bo Nix and the starting offense couldn't even cross midfield. On paper, that's frustrating, especially when Sean Payton has boldly declared this roster a Super Bowl caliber team. You expect a group like that to roll over any opponent, especially in August. But here's the thing. Football isn't always about what the scoreboard says in preseason. There was a deeper battle happening. The 49ers chose only one joint practice with Denver this week. Why? Their own broadcast crew spilled the truth. Head coach Kyle Shanahan avoids a second day of joint work because he knows the team that lost on day one often comes back angry, physical, and ready to start fights. This was a mental chess match, not just a physical one. And while it might not have looked perfect, the Broncos just uncovered something in this matchup, a piece of the puzzle that could define their season. For a lot of those 49ers backups, this game was their moment. The pinnacle of their football careers. They'd heard all week from San Francisco media that the Broncos had dominated joint practice. That kind of talk lights a fire. They came into this preseason matchup dialed in, determined to prove something. And early on, it showed. The Broncos didn't match that initial energy, at least not right away. We fell behind 9-0, but then, something shifted. Denver responded with 20 unanswered points. That's not panic football, that's pride. That's a team saying, we're not going anywhere. Nick Bonitto set the tone on the second drive, refusing to let San Francisco dictate the game. And while there were moments we'll need to clean up, like the safety charge to Bo Nix, this was more about mental pressure than poor field vision. Here's the inside story. Heading into this game, the plan was for Bo Nix to get maybe 6 snaps. That's it, but Sean Payton had other ideas. Watching his starters get outplayed by a group of 49ers twos? Unacceptable. He kept Nix in for the entire first quarter, making a statement. You could feel the urgency, the push to fight back. That safety? Intentional grounding under heavy pressure. Not a sign of confusion, a sign of a quarterback trying to keep the play alive against a defense playing well above its preseason weight class. Here's what I saw from Bo Nix in that moment. He had Troy Franklin sitting wide open underneath for an easy first down. But the biggest difference in Nix this game wasn't about that pass, it was about command. From the opening drive with Courtland Sutton, you could see it. He recognized a hands-to-the-face penalty before the whistle and immediately signaled for the flag. He was at the line early, identifying the Mike linebacker, adjusting run plays, changing protections. That's a quarterback in control. But this wasn't just about moving the chains. Sean Payton and Davis Webb clearly wanted to push the offense. These were 49ers backups, and the message was clear: attack. Nix had a double move developing, expecting a basic preseason coverage. Even the 49ers' own broadcast admitted they hadn't shown many creative blitz looks. Yet here they came, a safety blitz in a preseason game. Nix rolled out, thinking he had the time to set up a deep shot, something like that Marvin Mims connection we saw against the Browns. But suddenly, an unexpected defender appeared, and in that split second, with no reason to take a big hit in August, he made the business decision: throw it away. This wasn't a sophomore slump. It wasn't a quarterback lost or panicking. It was a young leader taking command, learning, and protecting himself in a game that's about preparation, not desperation. Broncos country can put the panic button back in the drawer. You could feel Sean Payton's frustration on the sideline. The 49ers came out swinging, unloading far more of their playbook than you'd expect in a preseason matchup. Meanwhile, Denver kept things vanilla. Bo Nix, though, wanted to land a knockout punch, the kind of big play that lets you close the first quarter and say, all right, we've got this. He knew the safe throw was there underneath, but he wanted more. And honestly, that's not a problem. That's the mindset of a competitor. But here's the real headline from this game. We just found proof that the Broncos' run game is going to be just fine. R.J. Harvey looked electric. His burst, his vision, the way he pressed the hole and then exploded outside, This is the kind of running you don't usually find without spending a first-round pick. And we got him in the third. The 49ers' own commentators couldn't stop talking about his speed and big play potential. Then there's Jaquan McMillion's closing speed on defense, the kind of athleticism that makes you realize why this secondary can be one of the NFL's very best. He's showing traits of a player who could quickly become the second-best cornerback on a championship-caliber unit. And the chemistry between Bo Nix and Troy Franklin, it's real. We've seen it in camp, and tonight Franklin made catches he never would have pulled in last season. That's growth. That's progress. Oh, and remember, we didn't even hear Evan Engram's name once tonight. That weapon is still waiting in the shadows. Sean Payton still hasn't played his Joker card. Evan Engram has openly embraced that role, and yet we didn't even need him to put up 20 unanswered points. That's why the panic button needs to stay untouched. Take Troy Franklin, for example. That clutch catch across the middle? He wouldn't have made that last year. We saw flashes of his growth in camp, but as any fan knows, camp standouts don't always deliver under the lights. Franklin did, and he did it again and again. The connection between him and Bo Nix is pure Oregon magic. 2 ducks, 1 mission. And Broncos country is here for it. Then there's Nick Benito. The man was on fire, nearly 3 sacks in a row. You don't see that at the pro level very often, and when you do, it's a sign of a player about to cash in with a big payday. Even on the 49ers broadcast, you could see him celebrating after key plays, feeding energy into the defense. There was a brief moment where he seemed to be limping, but it looked minor. What mattered most was the mentality shift after that opening drive touchdown. The team locked in. The defense clamped down, and the Broncos reminded everyone this is a playoff-caliber roster. Last year's postseason miss? History. One of the most encouraging sights tonight was Jaquan McMillion's bounce back. Early in the game, he gave up a big completion on the 49ers' opening touchdown drive. But instead of folding, he responded like a pro. This is a player who, just 3 seasons ago, graded as one of the best corners on the roster not named Pat Surtain. And he made sure we remembered that, stepping up with a huge interception and flipping the momentum. That's resilience. That's the mark of a competitor. Then there was the mystery of Audric Estime. For a player with so much preseason hype, his name never came up in the first half. He's still the youngest player on this team, tied with one of our rookies at just 25, and I still believe he has upside. But I wanted to see him tested against the 49ers starters. Right now, the Broncos' top 3 backs look like Tyler Beatty, J.K. Dobbins, and R.J. Harvey. And here's the truth, any of them would have been a major upgrade over last year's running back room. Sean Payton has already said this team is rolling out a brand new run scheme, and that's going to take time. Some fans online were worried about the offensive line after seeing Bo Nix scrambling, often rolling right under pressure. But remember, this is a system shift. Timing and chemistry in a new scheme don't happen overnight. Bottom line, this roster is better than last season's playoff squad. And tonight, we saw Bo Nix take full command in a way we weren't even expecting for a preseason game. The foundation is there. The ceiling is high. One of the biggest takeaways from tonight? Bo Nix is running this offense with a level of command we simply didn't see last season. There were moments last year where you'd see him covering his ears, struggling to get the play call in. This year, it's different. The offseason work has paid off. He's not just memorizing plays, he's owning them. And you can see it in his movements, his confidence, his control at the line. Tyler Beatty also shined in the new wide zone scheme, showing great patience, reading the blocks, and cutting decisively. That's exactly the kind of burst we need to keep defenses honest. On defense, Jade Barron's closing speed was on full display. Even when a receiver made the catch, Barron erased any hope of yards after contact. That's the first step, close the space. The next step? Breaking on the ball and taking passes away entirely, and he's got the tools to do it. Then there was Trent Sherfield, the former 49er, making his Bay Area return. What a homecoming it was. In a preseason game, he delivered one of the prettiest catches you'll see all year, a perfect dime from Jarrett Stidham in the back of the end zone, both feet down, textbook execution. If that's what Sherfield is doing in August, don't be surprised when he's making highlight reels in the regular season. Trent Sherfield isn't just making the roster because of that highlight reel touchdown, he's a lock because he brings value as a special teams contributor too. Versatility matters in the NFL, and he's got it. Pat Bryant also caught my eye. Yes, he had a holding penalty, but let's be real, it was nothing compared to the blatant hold the refs ignored on Nick Bonito during that opening drive touchdown. Bonito's pads were practically pulled off and no flag was thrown. All in all, I'm walking away encouraged. The 49ers had everything to play for tonight. For many of their guys, this was their personal Super Bowl because in a few weeks, a lot of them won't be on an NFL roster. Meanwhile, our starters were facing that desperation energy in August, and that's not always easy to match. Sean Payton kept Bo Nix in through the end of the first quarter, pushing him to make something happen. But that's preseason. That's not how this team will operate when the games count. We've got 3 weeks to tighten things up, and make no mistake, this roster has the pieces to make a deep playoff run. Broncos country can still believe.